You know, Donald Trump, I think, I said from the beginning when I ran in 2020 that he's a real danger to the country, to our democracy.
I feel like we should karaoke some Latifah right here. Coming in with a little UNITY for that soundbite. Welcome back to the program. Dana Lash here with you, bottom of the second hour. He said that in the actual interview where he was trying to tone down the rhetoric and call for some unity, which is why I think that the leftist calls for unity are absolute garbage. Case in point, can we talk about the Tenacious D stuff real quick? So Tenacious D, we played this yesterday. Kyle Gass and Jack Black formed Tenacious D. They were on stage in Australia on Sunday. And Kyle Gass goes out there and he's like, yeah, you know, but what did he say? Like, he was talking about the Trump assassination and he's
don't
like,
miss next time.
don't miss next time. Well, then the pushback came. Like, I'm going to pull this up. There was an Australian lawmaker who was like, you're deported. And they legit are trying to now propose, they had issued a statement saying the guy was going to seek a way to have him deported. I mean, they ain't playing with us. They're serious. So then they had the Tenacious D apology, and you had Kyle Gass on Instagram come out and say, quote, "The line I improvised on stage Sunday night in Sydney was highly inappropriate, dangerous, and a terrible mistake. I don't condone violence of any kind in any form against anyone. And what happened was a tragedy, and I'm incredibly sorry for my severe lack of judgment. I profoundly apologize to those I've let down and truly regret any pain I've caused," end quote. Any pain he's caused? Like, a father's dead because of that kind of hatred. Another father was almost dead because of that kind of hatred. If this was a real apology, I feel like Kyle Gass would have admitted it and then maybe would have donated to the victims' families. Don't you think so? I mean, maybe he would have at the very least mentioned it in his apology. So then Jack Black comes out and he issues a statement saying, quote, again on Instagram, "I was blindsided by what was said at the show on Sunday. I would never condone hate speech or encourage political violence in any form. After much reflection, I no longer feel it is appropriate to continue the Tenacious D tour, and all future creative plans are on hold. I am grateful to the fans for their support and understanding," end quote. So, I don't think that Jack Black had a problem when just a couple of weeks ago he was at a fundraiser for a guy who has repeatedly called the Republican nominee an existential threat, intimated that people who support that existential threat as a choice for president are somehow culpable in fascism, or they are Nazis, or they're something else. They have weaponized agencies to go after people. I mean, the rhetoric is backed up by actions that are carried out by these corrupt bureaucrats. He had no problem when he was at a fundraiser for this guy who was saying the same type of rhetoric just a couple of weeks ago. So forgive me if I don't take any of this seriously. I mean, forgive me if I just don't think that they're serious with their apologies, because I don't think it is. I mean, those are the rules, by the way. Is it not? Are those not the rules of the left? The rules of the left are, nope, you got to be totally destroyed now. No apologies at all whatsoever. I mean, isn't Kane, what do we say with that? Dems to rules.
Dems are the rules.
Dems to rules every time. They had, I was looking at this. This is Senator Ralph Babette, the United Australia Party senator for Victoria, who came out with the deportation proposal. I mean, the audience roared in acceptance of this. I mean, they thought it was a great thing. If Jack Black thought it was so bad, again, this rhetoric has been ongoing. Like, why now all of a sudden? Oh, because it was on stage? Does that make it different? I mean, why now all of a sudden is it bad to say the stuff that apparently has been fine to say up until this point? Why now? I mean, Kyle Gass, I get why he's rushing to apologize. What the hell does that guy do if he's not in Tenacious D? What does Kyle Gass do if he's not in Tenacious D? Jack Black at least has a career outside of Tenacious D, but is he going to get more movies made with this stuff? I will say this, in my career, I've been very careful not to classify politicians or people who are on the opposing ideological side of me as Nazis or terrorists or quote unquote existential threats. I save those descriptions for actual Hitler butt kissing Nazis and actual, terrorists and actual existential threats like the sweet meteor of death. I reserve that language for those things. I don't diminish the atrocity of those moral failings by assigning the words to describe them to people who merely think differently than I do on policy. And I guess that's what makes me different from people like Kyle Gass. I think that's just so lame to say something like that. Oh, better not, too bad you missed, or don't miss next time. What the hell does that mean? You absolute fat ass. What does that mean? You're on stage. People of both sides of the aisle were entertained by you, and you decide to turn on like half your audience. Not only that, but you decide to contribute to the very problem that we're dealing with. Let me remind everybody, the bullets have only been flying one way. For all the talk about both sides, I mean, how many times do we have to see Democrats try to kill Republicans? A number of them on a ball field? Burning down their damn cities, burning down their businesses, beating people in the street. How many times do we got to see this? This has only been coming one way, guys. And it's only been coming one way because people on the right have restraint. And they have a little bit more sense. And I guess we care a little bit more about our fellow man. Even if you're a dumb fat ass like Kyle Gass and you decide to go out and show your whole albatross to the whole audience like that. I'm so tired of this. And then they go, oh, well, we apologize, dust off hands. Oh, I guess that's that. No, it's not. That's not it. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of that rinse and repeat formula from the left. Says something stupid, offers a disingenuous policy, dust off hands. Okay, back to business. No, I'm done with it. There's a president almost got killed. I'm tired of people thinking that, we're all Nazis just because we disagree with you on taxes. The hell's wrong with you people? Grow up. It's so stupid. We live in an idiocracy, and it's infected every single aspect of life. And this is why I get why some people are worried about where the Republican Party's going with us. Look, I'm going to tell you, with all the talk about the Amber Rose stuff, and I was actually more nervous about the Teamster guy speaking than anything else. I mean, I don't know if you heard some of the stuff he was saying. It seemed a little big government to me, that Sean O'Brien guy. But I think, again, the RNC has a responsibility to be very clear to people if it is doing something that is about building coalitions or if it's something about the party base, because conservatives and Republicans aren't the same thing. Coalitions and parties aren't the same thing. And if the right wants to be able to compete, the right has to build coalitions. And that sometimes means that you're going to be sharing your tent with a bald woman who's got her kids' names tattooed on her face. And by the way, I find Amber Rose's face tattoos less douchebaggy than the goofy armband tats of some of these moral preening red pill bras on the right. I gotta be honest with you about it. But do I think that she's representative of the Republican Party? No, I don't. And I don't think that it's wrong to gatekeep for the principles of the Republican Party because it's the Republican Party. But to build a coalition, that means the Republican Party is going to have to find alliances with people who maybe don't agree with it on every single issue. Again, the Reagan rule, my 80% friend is not my 20% enemy. And if you want to win, if you want to beat the Democrat machine, you have to do that. Now, again, I think it's on fault of the RNC for not saying we need to focus on coalition building. And to that extent, here is Amber Rose. I think that would have been appropriate to do before she came out on stage. That wasn't done. Because then people are thinking, well, this means that she's representative of the Republican Party. And I completely think that that is a justifiable concern that some people have, given that that clarification was not made by the RNC. But at the same time, again, you're going to have to coalition build, guys. You are going to have to coalition build. It is a requirement. And you're also going to have to realize, for the people who are upset with J.D. Vance, you're never going to have complete perfection. You're not going to have perfection on political candidates. You're not going to ever get complete 100% a candidate that agrees with you. I don't even agree with my husband on 100% of the things, much less wholly agree with a politician on the issue. But look, winners win because they can adapt and they can reconfigure their strategy. That's what you got to realize. And some people insist that accepting anything less than perfection is selling out. I got to be honest with you. That take kind of ticks me off because that argument itself is a sellout. That argument, what's worse actually about that argument is it's a progressive style emotional blackmail straw man. And it's an argument that presupposes that adapting your strategy is the same thing as abandoning principle when the strategy is all about making the principle more attainable. And different means isn't a sacrifice of the end. And it's not an adoption of those means. It's not a change of principle. It's not anything. I mean, you're not going to score a touchdown unless you can move the ball, however incrementally, down the field. And refusing to play until the field is clear, well, that's a surrender. The right's got to learn how to build coalitions. Nobody gets the fairy tale ending that they want, guys, because this is real life. It is real life. It is not a fantasy land. The perfect candidate does not exist. Does not exist. The perfectly run campaign doesn't exist. I don't know if maybe, these perfectly curated social media photo kiosks on Instagram and Facebook make everything think that everything else has got to be just as airbrushed and perfect looking as that, including our politics. And if you don't understand that it can't be, you are going to forever be disappointed. I mean, what is your alternative? What is the alternative? I mean, the people who just want to bitch and moan without offering a single practical solution are, quite bluntly, obstacles into the path of victory. Might be harsh to say, but it's true. The objective is winning, guys, because the alternative, what is the alternative? Allowing Democrats to continue driving this country into hell? That's the alternative. Do you want sky-high taxes? You want $7 tubs of butter? You want runaway inflation? Do you want endless wars? Lawlessness and disorder? I mean, look around. It's not an exaggeration. The choice is yours. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you to think before you do it, though. I mean, it would be a real shame. A real shame if we missed the last off-ramp on the road to Marxism because people were holding out for non-existent perfection. No one is ever going to be good enough, guys. No candidate is ever going to be good enough. No campaign is ever going to be good enough. But maybe, just maybe, they might be useful enough in saving the country from certain destruction. Adapt strategies, be practical, and push forward.